cdstv is a class where kids learn how to make film and television. Our main product is to make a broadcast for the entire school. So I think it was 2001, Miss Urban started up TV productions as an extension of the newspaper class. And it ran as Aztec TV for, I want to say 2 years, maybe 3 years. And then it became a club. And then that's when they asked me to take it over because they knew I had some film experience.
I had a lot of friends in cdstv, and it was pretty much the only thing they talked about.
I joined it my sophomore year of high school, and I just thought it looked fun, so I was like, I'm gonna try it.
So I originally joined cdstv back in 2006 when they weren't a class. It was just an after school activity.
I like movies and working with film equipment and doing all that broadcast TV stuff.
I was at the orientation and I was thinking about doing theater, but the cdstv booth had a really convincing guy say that this is more fun.
He was still teaching world geography or something, so I was in his history class sophomore year, and then he was like, you just have to be in cdstv.
My brother was a senior, and he was in cdstv, and he loved it, and he basically forced me to take it.
Freshman year, I watched cdstv, seems cool.
I was doing TV production in middle school.
I'm really into movies and TV, and I kind of like working in groups, and I thought this was kind of a cool thing.
I've known Mr. Forbes my whole life, basically, from the point of my sister who took him, so I was really fond of him and decided to take the class.
I originally joined because it was the first year they made a cdstv, so I was like, I'm gonna do it.
I like movies and working with digital equipment and all that stuff.
I just need an extra class.
When we first started, I think the biggest change is the constant equipment changes that are always going on. We started with one tape handheld camera that we borrowed from AV and one computer that we borrowed from newspaper. And that is literally all we had. And we took turns editing on this one computer for, I think it was the first, I want to say it was the first like 8 broadcasts or something like that. And then finally over the years we built up enough stuff to be able to effectively do our jobs.
What I liked about cdstv was the high level of trust.
It was like a good community, I guess that's the word for it.
I liked the aspect that it was different than everything was typically, you know, yearbook or something that had to do with writing or the paper, and it was all that. You know, I'm not very good at writing.
When I think of high school, I honestly think of just cdstv.
Being in the same class with my friends, seeing our work go up every couple weeks, and just having a class where I didn't have to worry about stupid dumb deadlines.
It's just a really good atmosphere. Yeah. Like you just walk in and it's like, you just see all these posters and it's so colorful.
I still talk to a majority of the people who I was in seasons 3 and seasons 4 with.
The room was really energetic. Everyone, I met so many cool people through it.
All the skits and the news pieces that I get to make, and when I get to see them broadcasted and all the reactions.
And just hanging out with cool dudes like Mr. Forbes and Jesse and Bailey and Cody, my true loves.
I liked how it was like your own little club, but it wasn't like a secluded group of people.
Forbes, obviously, and working with friends, seeing yourself on the broadcast, where the whole school, almost the whole school, sees it.
What I loved most about cdstv was the big family orientation. You felt like you had a place to go.
There were like the nerd kids and the popular kids and then just regular people, and it was, you could make friends with anybody.
There is an ebb and flow with the students and their love for cdstv. We've had years where they just absolutely hate it, and they tell us on Twitter, they tell us in person.
I didn't like the lights in my face, being in front of the camera, this pretty much.
Sometimes there are people in your class who get jealous if someone it comes more naturally to them.
Maybe the fact that we don't get a whole lot of funding.
I don't think there is anything I disliked, because it kind of all came together.
I wish I did more like behind the scenes kind of stuff, or edited, or help set things up, and I really feel like I didn't do that enough.
The people that joined the class to say, like, oh, hey, look at me, I'm in cdstv, look at how awesome I am, look at the power that I have, but then they didn't do anything with it.
Well, we have this constitution, and there's one rule on it. It's don't get butthurt. And there are some kids that don't follow that rule.
The thing I think the class teaches kids most is how to think ahead, because not only do they have to think like to the next broadcast, but also maybe even the next 5 broadcasts. That's something I think that most teenagers don't usually think about. They don't usually think about like showcasing a show and looking at it as a whole, as opposed to just the next thing, the next broadcast, the next issue, that sort of thing.
CDS-TV has impacted the way that I look at all movies and television now. I can't watch something without picking out every single thing that's wrong with it.
You have to learn how to talk to people is the biggest part. So it's kind of uncomfortable to talk to people just in general.
So CDS-TV impacted my life, like in the aspect of like, it's kind of like what I'm planning on doing with my career, like in my future. You know, I'm currently going to film school at ASU. And
I think, CDS-TV just chillaxed me out.
How has CDS-TV impacted my life? That is the most difficult question ever, because CDS-TV is literally everything.
Up until I joined cdstv, I didn't really know what I was doing in high school. I didn't really feel like I was in a group. But once I joined, I felt like I was in a group.
I guess the relationships from CDS-TV has been the biggest thing to impact my life. I still talk to this guy on a regular basis.
CDS-TV has impacted my life with my career options and with my current job.
I feel like I grew up in that class. Like Forbes is, well, this is just my opinion. I don't know about these guys. Forbes is kind of pretty much a father figure.
I'm still filming stuff today. Actually, later today, Patrick and I are going to be filming together. And that's sort of the impact that CDS-TV had on me.
It was just an amazing class to be a part of. You learned so much. You made relationships with a bunch of people and a bunch of different people that you would never go out of your comfort zone to meet ordinarily.
Class has always been about what does the school want to see, right? And we always have to have this balance between what do teachers want to see and what do students want to see, because those two never agree. And what's considered good content, what's not.
I didn't really have a favorite project. I liked all the small short things that we did that most of them actually didn't even really get aired on CDS-TV or anything, just like goofy little bits that we did just for fun.
I did the epic lip dub, and the entire school was in it. It was like, I don't even know how many kids were here, like 1,500? I don't know how many kids are here. It was a lot of kids. I heard it, like everyone on the bus was watching it, and I had like librarians come up to me and they were like, I love this, and Principal Brown was like, we're gonna show this to like freshmen to make them feel like Corona's great, and I was like, okay. And I guess that was really just the peak of my CDS-TV, because I didn't do anything else, because for 4 months I literally was sitting here trying to figure out how I was gonna get 1,500 kids to participate, have fun, and make a good video.
I would say one of my favorite things was, I don't remember if it was season 3 or season 4, but our credits were, we were like all in white and got just a bunch of stuff thrown on us. We did purple paint and like glitter and like silly string and a whole bunch of stuff like that. And that was just a really fun day of getting each other dirty as possible.
I was so angry because I never got anything on me. They missed everything. I was completely white after that. I was so angry.
I did 3 different commercials. One for the yearbooks, one for the Jamba Juice that they had going on. They were selling Jamba Juices, I believe, every Wednesday after school.
Yeah.
And then there was the Bobby's Flowers that we were doing for a fundraiser for CDS-TV, where you get like a bouquet a month. And those were fun to film. They were a little weird. Not a lot of people understood them that much.
This little piece called Deep Thoughts, and the first time that we did it, we didn't really know what we were going into. So basically we played around with a lot of effects, and I think just exploring what we could do with just like a simple shot of me just sitting at a chair, and making it like not necessarily motivational, but sort of like a parody of motivational. I thought it was so much fun, and editing it and putting it together. And it was like one of my first like solo pieces besides having like someone film me. So that has been my favorite project so far.
The Super Bowl prediction video, which at the time, I think it was Super Bowl 48. It was between the Broncos and the Seahawks, and I expected it to be a close game, and I picked the Broncos to win. The game it turned into a blowout, and yeah, that was bad. And I thought I was gonna get that was gonna stick with me the entire year until about a month. I think about a month later, I did something called Bailey the Science Guy, where I don't know. It was a science-related video that I was in and starred in, and the most quotable quote, I said one thing in the entire video, and it was the term or the line, "Yeah, science." So that was pretty memorable.
I did an intro piece called Move. It was the CDSTV head walking towards the camera with the piano piece going in the background, just all over these different locations. And so that was just me and my friend. We just went up to, it was actually around ASU. A lot of locations are just ASU campus. But just filming there and doing this intro was a lot of fun. Getting experience, having to lug the camera around everywhere, and it really paid off. Being able to have all those different shots.
The 5-second film that we did called Amphitheater Kids, but it was so funny at the time. I watched it a couple months ago and I was like, oh my God. Now I remember why this was my favorite.
I don't ever really think years down the road. I usually think to the next year. So I'll figure out what kind of kids I have in the fall, and then when I'm meeting with them and planning with them, that's when I kind of figure out where we're going to go. But I don't necessarily think where are we going to be 5 years from now, because I don't know where we're going to be 5 years from now.
CDSTV pretty much just changed the way that I looked at high school. It was completely different from every other class I had taken up to that point.
It's still a huge part of me. I carry with me every day. Things I learned from it and friendships I made.
Just a reminder, it's a memory, it's something that will always be in the back of my mind.
A good abusive relationship.
It's so true though, it's making a joke, but it's really true.
CDSTV means being creative. It means a vivid class. It means high school.
It is like its own little family.
Yeah.
You can do so many great things in that class, and it makes you feel awesome when you do something great.
Mr. Forbes doesn't get all the credit that he deserves because he's very hardworking. Not a lot of people see it.
We're coming up on our 10th season, and it's all starting to blur together, which is partially why I made the plaques over my office so I can remember who was which year. And I've actually done that a couple times. I'm like, oh, when did I have this kid? And I'll go over there and be like, oh yeah, okay, season 3 sort of thing.
There's a lot of great memories, but the one that probably sticks out to me was the day after the Super Bowl, and I came into the class because
Operated.
And
They were merciless.
Yeah,
Actually, my favorite memory is when I punched Forbes in the kidney.
One of my favorite memories from CDSTV was just the nights that we stayed late to finish editing and really we cared about what we were putting out there.
Forbes is a great teacher. I don't say that to him because he's already too cocky.
The 5-second films was probably my favorite.
Forbes, I still hold a grudge for all the sharks.
Forbes is probably one of the most laid-back teachers that I've had in all the years that I've gone to school.
I think the biggest thing about CDSTV has always been the people. I used to make a joke with Margie DeCesar all the time. We always just made this joke about how lame would it be to be one of those teachers that just goes home at 2 in the afternoon every day, and never really gets to connect with kids, never really gets to know them beyond maybe their name and what their grade was in my class. We really bond, and it's really kind of amazing, especially when I was the officiant at a wedding of a CDSTV kid this year. I mean, that was probably the most mind-blowing thing for me, was that I'm there getting her hitched, and they're gonna be having kids soon, and there's all these things that it's just we become family, and that family bond stays with you for a long time, and I think that's the biggest thing about this. It's really cool because I know a lot of teachers don't get to bond with kids like that, but it's also really painful because you do look back on these years and you see these kids and you're just like, I really miss those times, but you look forward to the future too.